Alright, for this video I want to go through a sample form 3520, which is a foreign trust and receipt of foreign gift return. And in this example we're going to look at a taxpayer here. He's a U.S. citizen and he receives gifts from foreign persons during the year, which have to be disclosed on the 3520. So we've got the 3520, we'll go through all the relevant parts, and then we have one slide here covering some background on these foreign gifts, and then more details on the fact pattern. So generally when we see these 3520s, they're filed because a U.S. person has some kind of relationship or transaction with a foreign trust. So you're a beneficiary, a grantor, but it's also filed by U.S. persons who receive gifts from foreign persons. So those are non-resident individuals, foreign estates, or even gifts from foreign corporations or partnerships. Now, the filing requirement is triggered if the U.S. person receives gifts of more than $100,000 U.S. during the year from non-resident aliens or foreign estates. And then there's a much lower threshold for gifts from foreign corporations or partnerships. Now, generally, when we talk about gifts, the recipient, so the donee that receives the property, it's not taxable income to that person, right? Because it's a gift. Now, gifts from U.S. persons, so when the U.S. person is the donor, the U.S. person generally has to disclose the gift on a Form 709. However, the filing responsibility is reversed here because the non-resident doesn't have any filing obligations. So that's why the 3520 is required when a U.S. person receives gifts from foreign persons. Now, what are the disclosure requirements here? So you have to complete the first page, which is the identifying information for you, the donee that's received the gift. And then there's also part 4 in the return, which is where we disclose information on the gift itself. Now, the due date for filing these is the 15th day of the 4th month following the close of your year. So if you're an individual, it's the same filing deadline as your 1040. Now, if you file an extension for your 1040, it also extends the filing timeline for the 3520. Now, as far as information that has to be reported, you have to disclose the date of the gift, a description of the property that was transferred, and the fair market value of the property expressed as US dollars. Now, what's unique about the 3520 gifts from individuals, you do not have to disclose the name of that foreign donor, right? But the IRS, if they ever review the return, they might ask for it. So in contrast, when we look at the 709s, you have to disclose, so the donor is the one filing the return, and they have to disclose who the money is going to and what is the relationship between the donor and the donee. All right, now, failure to report these 3520s can be quite severe. So U.S. persons, if they fail to file this timely, they could be subject to a 5% penalty on the value of the gift, not to exceed 25%, and the IRS could ultimately recharacterize how it's classified. So, meaning, they could say, well, this isn't a gift anymore, this is actually a loan or it's income to you, and that obviously changes the reporting and the tax implication. All right, so let's look at the fact pattern here. We've got Adam Q. Taxpayer. He's a U.S. citizen and resident of Tampa. He has a wealthy uncle, John, who is a French citizen and resident of Monaco. John is a tax resident of Monaco, holds French citizenship, and he's not a covered expatriate for U.S. tax purposes. That's important because covered expatriates, if they give money back to U.S. persons, they have some different rules there. Now, on December 1, 2023, John gifted Adam 125,000 euros in cash, and he made this gift by transferring 125,000 euros from his Monaco account into Adam's non-U.S. bank account in Vienna, Austria. The 125,000 euros was worth 136,151 U.S. dollars on the date of the transfer. Now, the cash transfer here is a non-U.S. situs asset because these are all non-U.S. bank accounts. That's also an important detail because cash in U.S. accounts actually qualifies as U.S. situs property for gift tax purposes. So that would change a lot of the reporting here and the implications for John as the person gifting the property. Now, Adam's aggregate gifts here from non-residents exceed the 100,000 for the year, so he has to file the 3520 to disclose the gift. In previous years, Adam's bank account balance in that foreign account never exceeded 10K, so he was never required to file an FBAR. FBARs are foreign bank account reports. Now, given that the balance in his non-U.S. account exceeds 10K, he's going to be filing FBARs with FinCEN, and he's going to be doing the Form 8938 with his Form 1040. And then the last little detail here, he has filed a 4868 to extend the deadline for his 1040. So let's have a look at the tax return here. So the 3520, we have page 1 here. We're indicating that we're filing this for the 2023 calendar year. We're an individual, and we have checked the last box here indicating that we are a U.S. person who during the year received certain gifts or bequests from a foreign person. So we want to complete all applicable identifying information and Part 4. So we've got Adam's information here. He's the U.S. person filing this return. So he's the donee. He's the recipient of the gift. So we have his name, address, his tax ID number, his social security number, and he lives in the U.S. of A. Now in item I and J, these don't apply to us, right? He doesn't have a spouse, and there's no automatic extension because Adam lives in the U.S. He's not an expat living abroad. Item K, he has checked that this tax return is extended because he filed an extension with his Form 1040. Now the rest of this page 1 can be left blank because we don't have a foreign trust or U.S. agent issues here. So the next part that we actually have to complete is all the way down in Part 4. So Part 1 we can skip through because we don't have any foreign trust information. So we're skipping over Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and we are going all the way down to Part 4 to disclose the gift. Now, if you had foreign gifts, but you also had these foreign trust issues, then you might have to complete those parts as well. But in this one, Adam doesn't have any interest in foreign trusts. This is just a pure gift of cash from a non-U.S. account to another non-U.S. account. So question 54, during the year, did we receive more than 100K that is being treated as gifts or bequests from a non-resident alien, including distributions received from a domestic trust that was treated as owned by a foreign person or foreign estate? So we're answering yes, and if yes, we have to complete columns A through C. And with respect to each gift that exceeds $5,000. So $100,000 is the test for filing the 3520. So that to the extent that you receive multiple gifts that in the aggregate exceed 100,000, that would create the filing requirement, but you're only disclosing details on each gift that exceeds the $5,000 mark, and there are aggregation rules for related parties. In this example, pretty straightforward. We have one gift exceeding 100,000 from John's uncle. So we've got the date of the gift, December 1st, 2023. A description of the gift here, so it's a cash gift of 125,000 euros. The spot rate on December 1st was €1 is equal to 1.08921 US dollars. And so the fair market value in US dollars is the 136,151, and we've entered the total there as well. We've also included, which is optional, information on the donor. So Adam elected to disclose this. Again, it's not required if the donor is an individual. You'll notice down here in question 55 for gifts from foreign corporations or partnerships, you do have to name the foreign donor, right? But in this case, it wasn't required. He included it anyway. That's fine. So we've got the information on the donor, the relationship to the U.S. person as the donee, and then item 55 we can leave blank. And we're leaving 55 blank because we don't have any gifts from foreign corps. So during the year, did we receive gifts from foreign corps or partnerships? And we're answering no. So 55 can be blank. The last question in part 4 is 56. Do we have any reason to believe that the foreign donor in making the gift described in either lines 54 or 5 was acting as a nominee or intermediary for any other person? In our case, no, right? John was not making this gift as a nominee or intermediary on behalf of somebody else. So that covers it for this example. Pretty straightforward under this fact pattern. 3520s for gifts and trust can be immensely complicated, so your situation might differ significantly from this one, but at least as an intro to how these forms work, this is a very straightforward gift from a non-resident to a U.S. taxpayer. So that covers it for this tutorial. Hope that was helpful. Any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And as always, I appreciate you watching and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.